Hey everybody, J-Mice here for another spectacular episode of Squeeky Reviews. Happy Halloween, everyone. Hope all of you are having a terrifyingly good time. Tonight, we have a very special episode, as we'll be doing a double feature review. I can't wait to get started. But before I begin, if you're a new ghoul in town,
greetings.
If you like to sell your soul to the madness, click on the subscribe button down below and become a member of the Madtown community. And of course, make sure to comment, like, and share. Now, let's get into this. The first movie I'm going to review is a film on Netflix. And no, it's not Cuties. But trust me, that movie really is disturbing. And I will not touch it with a 10-foot pole. So don't ask. I'm going to give you a review on the film Hubie Halloween. Hubie Halloween is produced by our good friends from Happy Madison. And of course, being Happy Madison, it stars the one and only Adam Sandler, who plays the main character, Hubie Du Bois, who is the small town loser who's trying to solve some mysteries and protect his town when some of the folks end up disappearing. Before I actually start the review, allow me to share some facts on Hubie Halloween. The teen actor Cameron Boyce was going to make an appearance in the movie. However, though, he actually passed away on July 6th of last year. Some of the actors, including Peyton List and Karen Brar, were co-stars of his on Jessie and Descendants. He was also a co-star in Grown Ups and Grown Ups 2, which also starred Adam Sandler. But it was nice that the movie dedicated this to him. Adam Sandler's real-life daughters actually make an appearance in the film. In this movie, you're going to see a lot of references to other horror films. One of them includes the mayor character, who's actually wearing a jacket that's similar to the mayor's jacket in Jaws. Also in Jaws, both the mayors refuse to cut off the festival despite the potential harm that will happen in the town. This is the second time that Adam Sandler and actress Julie Bowen have starred together, the first being Happy Gilmore in 1996. And this is the third collaboration between Adam Sandler and Ben Stiller, as they both previously starred in Happy Gilmore and the Mary Rotwitz stories. Now, talking a bit more about the cast, because this is a really big cast, and they're very similar because most of the actors were actually in Grown Ups franchise. This includes Adam Sandler, Kevin James, Rob Schneider, Steve Buscemi, Maya Rudolph, Tim Meadows, Shaquille O'Neal, Jackie Sandler, Sadie Sandler, Sunny Sandler, three daughters of Adam Sandler's, China Ann McClain, Colin Quinn, Blake Clark, Dan Patrick, and Alan Covert. Also, there's the actor Ray Liotta from The Goodfellas, and his real-life daughter Carson, who actually have a supporting role in the film. This is also Kenan Thompson's first time in an Adam Sandler movie. Director Steve Brill was also director of Little Nicky from the year 2000. Did you know that the movie actually takes place in Salem, Massachusetts? This is the exact same setting as the film Hocus Pocus, which was another Halloween movie. Most say a classic. Salem is also the town of the famous witch trials in 1692 to 1693. And this is the second collaboration between China Ann McClain and Kelly Berglund. They previously started together in How to Build a Better Boy in 2014. Oh yeah, and just one more thing about the cast. Adam Sandler, Kevin James, and Steve Buscemi were also stars in another Halloween flick, a flick you might know as Hotel Transylvania. Alright, now it's time to give you the Goudas. What's the Goudas in Hubie Halloween? Well, if you are not into the horror genre, or at least, the really creepy, scary type of Halloween movies, like Halloween, then you might enjoy this film. It's definitely, of course, being a Happy Madison film, will fall into the more comedic side. It's so comedic that it's actually kind of a stupid? Yeah, good or bad, it all depends on your taste. Another good about this film is, as I mentioned before, the cast. It has a huge line of celebrities. As I mentioned before, you have Adam Sandler, Kevin James, Rob Schneider, Steve Buscemi, Maya Rudolph, Kenan Thompson, Big Boy Shaq. Oh yeah, too, I also forgot to mention, Will Byers is also in this film too. They grew up so fast. So yeah, it was kind of fun seeing pretty much the same Happy Madison cast coming together. Another good I guess I'd like to mention too would kind of be the comedy. Kind of? Okay, well, this might be kind of split. Okay, I would say in terms of the better part of the comedy will have to be some of the gags. Two of my favorites has to be the one where we see the reveal of Shaq. If you see the film, I won't spoil it for you. I thought it was pretty funny. As well as Hubie's thermostat. I mean, it can turn into a telescope, to a grappling hook. Yeah, pretty much anything. I wonder if they sell that on Amazon. And of course, the rest of the humor is mostly just stupid, gross out humor. As I said before, it's all based on your taste and how you feel about, the Happy Madison films. And yeah, those are mostly my Goudas. Because the CMs is kind of big. So the first CM is going to be, the humor. It's mostly a miss for me. It's a shame because most of the Happy Madison films, like Grown Ups, Joe Dirt, The Long Yards, 50 First Dates, Grown Ups 2, The Benchwarmers, Mr. Deeds, and even Little Nicky, especially Little Nicky. All of them are really great films. But I feel like once we hit the Jack and Jill mark, things got really rocky. Just to put it shortly, most of the jokes were kind of corny and felt flat for me. Like, for instance, the grandma wearing the different t-shirts that were, I guess, supposed to be subliminally inappropriate. Some of the bully characters keep calling him Hubie. You know, get it? Get it? Huh? And then, like I said before, you also have the gross out humor, like a bunch of kids throwing bags of poop at Hubie. Comedy at its finest. And then there is the story and characters. One of the things that was kind of confusing for me was how everyone was treating the main character. I mean, I understand that Hubie's supposed to be like this dorky loser and no one takes seriously, but I mean that everyone hates him and just completely tries to torture him, which I never really got and understand. I was thinking that the story was gonna go like a bit deeper. I know, what was I kidding? But I was expecting him to go somewhere with that, and maybe he caused some kind of accident that would somewhat give reasons to why people hate him. But no, they just think that he's just, you know, annoying and a loser. Well, except for Julie Bowen's character, which also doesn't work. The whole romance plot, it just feels just very forced. I mean, I have no idea why this woman is so obsessed with Hubie. Like, absolutely obsessed. Like wanting to plow him in a nanosecond obsessed. There was just no chemistry. But it was funny how oblivious he was to it. Now, I will say that, to give it one more Gouda, was that it does have a good moral message. Not to spoil anything away, but it's all about bullying, acceptance, and treating others how you want to be treated. We definitely need more morals like that in entertainment nowadays. But, like I said, it was very split for me. Overall, I felt like this movie just wasn't as good as the early Happy Madison films. At least we had uncut gems. That was fun while it lasted. But yeah, it's not completely harming, and you can still enjoy it if you like, you know, really dumb, you know, gross out humor. I think you'll enjoy it, especially with like Happy Madison films. But I wouldn't say that this is the best film. It's definitely on the low tier. And for that, I think I'm gonna have to give this a pause down. Alright, before we get into our second film, I just want to let you guys know that if you are interested in seeing any more updates from Madtown Studios, check out some of our social media sites, as well as our store, the Madtown Merch. There, we have a lot of illustrations made for t-shirts, coffee mugs, and more. Check out the link below and give us some love. So, the second film I want to dive into is actually a film from Amazon. and produced by Paramount. My second review is Love and Monsters. This movie is one of those teen comedy drama type films, but with the apocalypse. Setting in a world where monsters are taking over, a young dude named Joel gets separated from his girlfriend. 7 years pass, and every human being are now living in colonies. Joel, however, learns that his girlfriend is still alive and is actually living 80 miles away. So, of course, being a love-struck, stupid teenager, he goes on an epic quest to find his girlfriend. Along the way, Joel meets up with some fun allies, as well as some giant threats. Fun fact about this movie: one of the dog characters, named Boy, is actually played by two Australian Kelpies. Their names are Hero and Dodge. And during the filming, only Dylan O'Brien, the actor who plays Joel, was allowed to interact with the two dogs. Now, whether or not these pooches actually survive in the film, you're gonna have to find out for yourself. So, let's jump right into the Goudas and the CMs. So, unlike Hubie's Halloween, this film was the complete opposite. So, just to jump in the Goudas, there's a lot to like. This film was fun to watch and had a lot of good cinematography. And the effects weren't that bad. For some reason, I can definitely tell that it was made by Paramount. It was reminding me a lot of the Bumblebee movie and a few of the live action Nickelodeon movies. Love them or hate them, it's all based on your taste. The monsters specifically actually look really good. And I like how all the monsters are actually just mutants of different animals. That includes insects, amphibians, crustaceans. You can tell they were being very imaginative. So now that the movie actually looks good, how's the character in the stories? Well, all I have to say is that compared to, that other film, this one did a lot better. While Hubie was somewhat endearing, he was just really, really annoying. And it was kind of hard for me to really root for him when he was just being so obnoxious. Joel, on the other hand, was different. You actually felt for him. He was a very sympathetic character who you see loses everything. He's not the brightest nor he's the strongest person in the apocalyptic world. But when he's thrust into the adventure, he begins to learn new things and is able to grow as a character. You really do see that. And the performance was great. All the performances were actually really good. Especially the dog. And he wasn't CGI, y'all. He wasn't CGI. Now that's a blessing. In fact, speaking more of the cast, I was actually surprised to see Michael Rooker in this film, who y'all might know is playing Merle from The Walking Dead. When I saw the characters of his character Clyde and the little girl Minnow, I was immediately getting The Last of Us vibes. And what was even more funny was that the main character was Joel. And it was an apocalyptic world. I see what you're trying to do, movie. I see what you're trying to do. But yeah, overall the story was not complex. It was pretty simple, but nonetheless pretty engaging. As I said before, I was really rooting for the characters, especially Joe. So yeah, those are the Goudas. In terms of the CMs, they're pretty small. There's actually two. There's a very special character that's apparently supposed to help during the apocalypse. I'm only gonna say that it's not quite human, but Joe ends up coming across one of these things. But we only know about this only like in the middle of the film. This character isn't mentioned earlier on. Either that or I must have missed something. But this character's part was actually pretty funny. You'll know what I'm talking about. Another thing too that I wish they kind of did it better on was the main, at least the ending threat. This supposed character actually doesn't come in until later on, but apparently they're the big boss that Joel has to confront. And it's kind of weird because for the most part the main conflict was more of a man versus beast or man versus nature type of situation. It didn't really throw me off, but I was kind of hoping that this type of character would have been introduced a little earlier on, or at least built up. But other than that, I enjoyed this film. I was definitely getting some Zombieland vibes from this movie. And for that, I'm going to give this a pause up. And I highly recommend checking it out. But yes, those are my 2 Halloween films of 2020. And I know there's probably more. I mean, you got The Haunting from Blythe Manor, you have Bad Hair, Come to Daddy, The Lodge, Cuties. I mean, seriously, Netflix, what the fuck? All in all, I hope that all you goblins and ghouls, witches and monsters, all have a film they're able to enjoy on this very spooky holiday. We have more videos and projects in the future, and I hope that you stick around to catch them all. But until then, I hope you all stay happy, stay healthy, and stay spooky.